So we have today with us Dr. Swati Popat Vats, who is the founder and president of the Early Childhood Association in India and the Association for Preparatory Education and Research. As president of Podar Education Network, she leads over 490 preschools and daycares in India, Nepal, UAE, and Qatar. Dr. Vats has coined the term education for early childhood teachers and parents to help them understand that young children need education from the point of view of their development. In a career spanning over 34 years, Dr. Vats has authored multiple books for parents, teachers, and children. Her most recent works are two books on coding for children and on educators like Gijubai, Frobel, and Vygotsky. She has also helped train more than 3 lakh children on good touch, bad touch, and over 60,000 teachers on POSCO awareness. Dr. Vats is a globally awarded early years leader. So welcome, Dr. Vats. Thank you again for being here. Before we begin, I will just take one more minute of all of your time. So we at Lead Group believe that real learning begins when rote memorization ends. And that is why we have launched a campaign, a Freedom from Rote campaign. We would like to request all of the audience here to take the pledge and be a part of this transformation. You can visit www.freedomfromrote.com. Also, you can see the link in the chat window and take the pledge on behalf of your school, your students. Yeah. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's begin.
Thank you.
Over to you, Dr. Vats.
Thank you so much. I believe one of you is going to help me with my
Yes,
PowerPoint.
I will just share. Just give me a second.
Thank you so much because I'm having some problem with my system
No,
and
that's
I'm unable
fine.
to share.
I
So, welcome to all the participants, and it is such a pleasure that on a working day, we also have so many people who have joined us to know more about the NCF. I'm going to touch on both the NCFs, NCF 2022 and NCF 2023. The difference being that NCF 2022 was launched in 2022, and it is for the foundational stage, which is from nursery to grade 2. And NCF 2023 was launched in 2023, and it is for school education. So we're going to touch on both of these today. I have another workshop at 5 o'clock, so I will be leaving at 4:55 sharp. But I'm sure we're going to have a good interactive session to understand the national curriculum frameworks because they are now an integral part of school education. Let's go to the next slide. It is very important for us to recognize the documents that are released by the government. And when the NEP came out and the NCFs came out, there was a lot of confusion. What is it about? Is it about assessment? Is it about inclusive education? Is it about educating parents? What about the teachers? What about changes in the curriculum? So I think this visual aptly describes that all these documents actually cover all of these. These are guidelines given in the framework, and then it's up to us of how we want to integrate it in our everyday curriculum. Let's see the next slide. So if you see the NEP 2020, for the first time, it includes the early years. So till now, early years was under the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare, but now the 3 to 6 years is under Ministry of Education. And very nicely, if you see the top line of this visual, it uses certain words like flexible, multifaceted, multi-level, play-based, activity-based, inquiry-based. And this is where we can get our vision, philosophy, and what kind of curriculums we should have in our schools. I think this connects beautifully to the campaign that has been started by Lead Group, which is against rote learning, because that's what the NEP wants us to move away from. And if you see the bottom part of this poster, it tells you what all should be included in your curriculum. So if you see the first child, it says alphabet, languages, numbers, etc., which was always part of our curriculum. But if you see the second and the third box, it will now tell you that we need to move away from only learning about these things to understanding and application of these two things. Only then can we say that we have brought up intelligent children. Let's see the next slide. This next slide will show you the document cover pages. So these are the four most important documents that every school must have a copy of. We have the National Education Policy 2020. We have the NCF 2022. Below on the left, you have the NCF 2023. And then the last document is called the Nipun. So, if I were to ask you very gently, how many of you have read all of these documents completely? I am sure only a few of you would be able to raise your hands. But no worries, we are there for you. If you see the next slide, what we have done at the Early Childhood Association is we have created an A to Z. And A to Z of the two most important documents, which is the NCF 2022 for foundational stage and NCF 2023 for school education. I will share these PDFs with the lead group, and the lead group can send it out to all of you, because this is a ready reckoner which kind of helps you understand what is part of these documents and which pages to refer to if I need help in assessment or in curriculum development, or to understand which languages should I be using, or what are these board exams, etc. Let's see the next slide.
Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Vats. We have the poll questions ready,
Yes,
three poll questions. Whenever you want it, just let us know. We'll serve the poll.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. So let's go to the next slide. So this is the NCF cover page. And if you see here, there is a design on the right hand side. It looks like a roundish design. This is called the Mobius strip. Now, why has the NCF put the Mobius strip? Because it wants continuity in education. Continuity means that whatever we do in the foundational stage should be connected to the school education stage. School education should be connected to college education, etc. So nothing should be in silos. And that is where we all need to focus on as principals, as educators, as curriculum developers, as teachers. Let's see the next slide. Now, before this, I would ask you all to take the first poll question. So I would request the lead group to please put the first poll question. So I had spoken to you about Nipun. Nipun is a document on literacy and numeracy. So let's see how many of you know the full form of Nipun. It's so wonderful to see everybody answering the questions. And one option's line is growing faster. Let's see if they are correct. Shall we stop the poll?
Yes. Okay, so we have the results. 75% of people answered the C.
National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy. Thank you very much. It means we have a very, very well connected audience, and most of them seem to have read the Nipun Bharat document, which is a very important document for promotion of foundational literacy and numeracy. Let's go to the slide now. So, if you see the slide in front of you, it talks about the brain. And sadly, in our country, we all become teachers and educators without understanding the brain. The brain is the only organ, actually, which we as educators and teachers are trying to teach, because everything starts and stops in the brain. So, it's very important for us to know at least simple four facts about the brain. The right side of the brain is in charge of long term memory, and the right side of the brain learns through songs, games, and stories. So, if next time you have a problem with a child that I taught you this yesterday and you've forgotten it again, it means whatever you taught this child did not go in the child's right brain. So, you may need to use a different technique to put it in the child's right brain, and that technique is usually songs, games, and stories. The left side of the brain is very analytical, very logical, and asks a lot of questions. And unless they don't get the right answer, children end up misbehaving. So when you say to a child, don't sit here, they are not going to listen to you because their brain is questioning them. Why should I not sit here? If I don't sit here, where should I sit? So learn to frame your sentences which also have a solution or an answer. So I don't want you to sit here because you will fall down and hurt yourself. Now the left brain is very happy. The left brain listens and pushes that information into the right brain. So it stays there for life. Left brain is in charge of short term memory. And then you have an upper brain and lower brain. Now, the lower brain is more powerful than the upper brain. The upper brain is supposed to be your intelligence, but it has somebody more powerful than it, and it's called the amygdala. So, the amygdala is your emotional brain, and if the emotions are triggered, it can hijack the thinking brain. So, you must have seen when people get angry, they end up saying things that they don't mean, they end up doing things that they didn't want to, and once they have calmed down, they feel, oh my God, why did I do all that? They did all that because their thinking brain had been hijacked by the amygdala. So, teachers need to be very careful about this in the classroom. Are my practices hijacking children's amygdala because of which they are unable to think? Now, what hijacks the amygdala? Simple things like comparing a child to another child, boredom in the classroom, too much of rote learning, because boredom means if you're just going to make me rote learn, I'm going to get bored, or stress, anxiety, shouting, screaming. So we have to be very careful about our practices if we understand the brain. Let's see the next slide. I want you to see these pictures because a lot of parents are not convinced that there is something called brain development. Now, whether you are a teacher of a 10th grade child or you are a teacher of a nursery child, very important for you to understand that if taught correctly, brain development is evident. So let's look at these visuals. It's an 18-month baby. Now, 18-month baby mein kya brain development hoga? Many parents wonder about that. So let's see these visuals. Here is a child who's sitting and watching a magazine. And then let's see the next slide. And you will see in the next slide, the child points to a picture. The teacher shows her watch. And let's see what happens in the next slide. The teacher now makes the child hear the sound of the watch. 18-month baby understood and made a connection. Let's see the next slide. This child understood that this watch is equal to the watch in this magazine. So if this has a sound, then does the magazine watch also have a sound? That's called a connection. That means whatever learning and teaching the teacher did went into the child's right brain. The child was able to think, the child was able to connect, and the child was able to make an understanding. An 18-month baby. So just take this as a reflection point that if children are not understanding things in our classrooms, then is it that we are not teaching them correctly? Let's see the next slide. Our children are going to grow up in a world of AI. You know, there is so much of discussion these days on banning mobile phones and banning screens and all. Let's not forget, friends, that these are digital natives. These have been born in a digital era. We had to take a visa and come into this digital stage. We were not born into it. These children are born into it. So we need to actually prepare them for the digital era. We can't keep them away from digitals. And AI is now everywhere. You can't stop it from coming in front of your child. But what you can do is teach your child human intelligence. Because it is only human intelligence who can make out what is AI and what is not AI. Is this AI telling me something right, or is it telling me something wrong? Should I be using AI for this, or should I be using my human intelligence for it? This is where we come in as educators. We first need to develop human intelligence, because otherwise our children are going to grow up dependent so much on artificial intelligence that we will be growing up a generation who can't think for themselves. Let's see the next slide. Look at this. These are the two options in front of us. Look at the picture on the left. And here is a child who says this is an apple tree. But where are the trees of Samsung, Lenovo, and HP? Because this child is only associating Apple as an iPhone or Apple as a computer. Do you want a generation like this who actually can't think beyond digital? Or do you want a generation which is given on the right? That's a digital native. That's a person who knows that I can balance digital with play, with outdoor activities, and it is in my control. That visual says it all, that I can control digital devices, I can control screens, and I will use them when I want to. That is the generation that we need to grow up in our schools. Let's see the next slide. So, these are all the qualities that you will require if you want children to develop human intelligence. And if you see all these qualities like creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, data literacy, empathy and social skills, resilience and growth mindset, and ethical reasoning and navigating moral dilemmas. I don't know how many of you are from Maharashtra, but in Maharashtra right now, there is a big thing going on with Mahadevi Mahalakshmi elephant. Please go through it. I have also posted about it on my LinkedIn profile. I've also posted a project on it for middle school and upper middle school children. Here you have an incident where an elephant has been taken from a village and sent to Vantara on the complaint filed by PETA and a judgment filed by the Supreme Court. The villagers protested so much that the chief minister had to get involved, and now we have to decide how to keep all these parties morally, ethically right, and everybody happy. These are the skills we need to teach our children. Human intelligence. Use things that happen every day in their world to teach them about these things. Please have a look at the project that I have posted on LinkedIn. Let's see the next slide. So, from childhood, we need to teach our children about safe use of screens. If you notice in our pre primaries and primary classrooms and poetry books, we have a lot of poems on traffic lights and crossing the street. No child is going to be driving at that age. We don't need to teach them about traffic lights so early. We actually need to teach them about screens. If you're watching a screen, take a break. If you're watching a screen, take a break. Go outside and play. It's fun to take a break. If you're watching a screen, take a break. So, if you introduce songs like this right from childhood, children will grow up respecting rules around screens. That is human intelligence. Let's see the next slide. I have developed coding books. These are non screen coding books just for this reason, because we want children to understand that coding and human thinking are very much similar. And I can control what I think, and I control the machines. Let's see the next slide. So, this book was for age 4 to 6 years, and this book is for age 6 to 10 years. Both of these book comes with supportive workbooks or activity books. Let's see the next slide. Now, here is a slide which tells you why coding in early years. Why should coding start early? If you see all the school curriculums, they start coding at grade 5 and grade 6. No, I say start coding early. I'm not saying start computer coding early. But if children understand the basics of coding, you are actually helping code the way they will think. You are teaching them how to learn. For example, an algorithm is a sequence or a pattern. Literacy and numeracy also has a sequence and a pattern. A to Z, 1 to 10. Debugging means finding the problem and fixing it. You do give worksheets like find the odd one out, what is missing, right? That's debugging. Decomposing means breaking a larger task into smaller tasks. And reading and spelling is nothing but that. You take a sentence, you break it up into parts and you read it. You take a word, you break it up into sounds. Conditionals is when, if and then. If you do this, then you can go out and play. So, whatever we talk about in coding is actually part of their everyday life. So, let's introduce it to them in such a way that it nurtures their human intelligence and then links them to coding and other screen based skills. Let's see the next slide. Children want to be out of this prison. What do they want to do? Let's see the next slide. They want to go out from all these boring rote learning drill activities that were part of our education system since so long. Let me show you the next slide. Look at this one. Cursive. We have this whole debate that goes on. Cursive karna chahiye ki nahi karna chahiye, karna chahiye ki nahi karna chahiye. Cursive is very good for the brain. Yes, it is. But at what age? First, I need to learn how to write. Then, I need to learn how to join letters. Then, I need to learn how to write a sentence. And then, once I have got the grasp on writing of letters, then introduce cursive. Not the other way around. You can't start off children with cursive because reading and writing go hand in hand. Writing doesn't happen in cursive in books. You see any storybook or any textbook that you pick up, it's in print. So don't start cursive before the age of 7 or 8. Let's see the next slide. A lot of schools are confused. Which letters should children write first? Capital letters or small letters? Well, pick up another book again. What books are children reading? Pick that up. What are the fonts that what are the letters that children see maximum? Lowercase letters. And there are more pencil pickups in an uppercase letter. So children find it very difficult. They pick up smaller case letters faster, and it also aids them in reading. Let's see the next slide. I love this because we are a generation that grew up with red and blue lines. We are a school system everywhere that push red and blue lines on our children without understanding and looking at the torture that children go through when they transit from red and blue lines to a single line. If you see, on the left hand side is your red and blue line, and on the right hand side is your single line. Now, on the left hand side in your red and blue line, to write something like a capital G, you need the top 3 lines. And to write something like the small g, you need the bottom 3 lines. But when I transit to a single line, which 2 lines disappeared? There is only a top line and a bottom line. And this is when children fail to write properly in a single line and they get tortured. So here is a solution that global schools have started using. We all love to study Finland and Japan and all. Study this. This is what is being used everywhere. The line in the middle, it's called the 3 line. It is the size of a single line. It is like a single line, but it has a dotted line in the middle. And all the small letters are taught to the child, saying, write all small letters below the dotted line, and all hanging letters will touch the next dotted line. As children learn to write, it's only the dotted line that disappears, and the child is writing on a single line. We are not adopting this very research based idea because publishers are still stuck on red and blue lines. We can't have publishers deciding what is right and what is wrong for our children. It's the principals and teachers who should be deciding. Let's see the next slide. Communication is going to be the biggest key. If you want AI to do anything properly for you, you will know how to communicate with it. Let's see the next slide. Look at this worksheet. It says the cat is hungry, help the cat reach the milk. And the child has not used the maze at all. I like this teacher, that the teacher is still marked a right and this teacher is still given a star. Child has used the child's intelligence. Ideally, the instruction for this worksheet should have been use the maze and help the cat reach the milk. If that was done, then the child would know I will have to use the maze. Let's see the next one. Look at this one. What ended in 1896? 1895. You have to be very clear in the questions that you frame for children. Otherwise, they will answer it literally. Look at the next one. Can you draw this ship? No. Can you draw this ship is a question. And it's a yes and no question. Ideally, it should have been draw this ship on your own or something like that. But we didn't. So half the time, it's not children who are failing. It is the instructions that are failing them. So have a look at all the instructions that you design in your worksheets, in your activity books, etc., because we need to focus more on communication skills. Let's see the next slide. Fear. We have been a generation that loves to use fear to instill any good habits. ये कर लो नहीं तो ये आएगा, ये कर लो नहीं तो ये हो जाएगा. So it is very important to understand, and I spoke about it in the brain slide that I showed you. Fear, it means the amygdala will wake up. The amygdala will wake up, and then you will see only three reactions from children: fight, flight, freeze. So, whenever you see these reactions in children, you must know that you have awakened the emotional brain and not the thinking brain. Let's see the next slide. This is another mistake that schools do where they give visually heavy and light worksheets, which means, how do you expect me to know with my eyes what is heavy and what is light? Ideally, these kind of worksheets should be given with an experiment that let's touch all these things. So you can't give a cow and a hen because you can't bring a cow and a hen in the class to understand which is heavy and light. But you can't expect children to use their eyes to understand what is heavy and light. Let's see the next slide. So these are the kind of things that scare children. These are the kind of things that worry children. These are the kind of worksheets and activities that confuse children. And when there is worry, stress, scared, confusion, amygdala wakes up, thinking brain goes to sleep. Look at these toys. They look very nice, but everything is written in all capital letters. We don't read in all capital letters. Pick up any book. We don't read in all capital letters. We don't want children to write in all capital letters. So let's not give them visual stimuli, which is with all capital letters. Let's say the next slide. So these are the things that we need to focus on in our curriculum and understand for any age group that the child is an active learner. The child learns through play. Let's see the next slide. The child learns through relationships. We need to have good relationships with not only the child, but also the parents. Because if the parents are doing contrary things at home, this child will always be in a confused state. The child learns through the environment. If you want the child to be respectful, the child needs to see respect. The child learns through multiple learning styles, and we all need to inculcate all of these in the activities, curriculum, and everything that we are doing for children. Let's see the next slide. I'm just going to play a simple game with you quickly. Do you recognize the people, the film stars that you see in these photographs? Quickly. I'm sure most of you must have recognized them, right? Let's see the next slide. Do you recognize them? Because actually, friends, these are the film stars of our field. As educators, they are our film stars because it is their research, it is their philosophy, it is their approach that defines what we do in our classrooms. So we may know about Hollywood and Bollywood and Tollywood, but we also need to know about these film stars, these educational stars. Because if you see the next slide, these are all the educational stars that are covered in our NEP 2020. And if you don't know about them, That means somewhere your curriculum, your school is lagging behind. You need to have a combination of all of these in every aspect, whether it is curriculum, behavior management, assessment, etc. Let's see the next slide. Can you read the picture on the left? If you can read this, thank a teacher. And if you see what's written in the bottom, if you can read this, you probably are a teacher. Let's see the one on the right. Can you read that? Intelligence is the ability to adapt to changes, Stephen Hawking. How were you able to read it? Did you do phonics while you were reading it? Because there are no letters. If you see the one of Stephen Hawking, it's not even written with letters. Even the first and last letter is not a letter, it's a number. You didn't use phonics to read this. So please understand, language development as given in Nipun is not only phonics. You have to have whole language. Let's see the next slide. This is what is given in Nipun: oral language development, word recognition, reading, and writing. Now, if you go to word recognition in the first line, that's the only place where you will see phonological awareness activities. Whereas our schools are making a mistake and their entire literacy curriculum is completely phonics based. Phonics is not reading, literacy, spelling, etc. Phonics is a small part of your literacy program. Let's see the next slide. Numeracy. Numeracy has to have these steps: experience, spoken language, pictures, written symbols. To put it simply, it needs to have concrete, pictorial, and abstract. Now look at the bottom. We straight away start with abstract when it comes to numeracy. सीधा worksheet दे देते हैं. And then we say children are not good in maths or children hate maths. If we follow what is given in Nipun, we will be able to bring up a generation that loves maths. Let's take the next poll question.
Go ahead. Can you please serve the poll? Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
So it says, how many national curriculum frameworks have been released post NEP 2020? And there are your options in front of you. And I can see one line going faster than the others. That's right. Shall we end the poll? And the answer is 2. Yes, we've only launched 2 till now: NCF 2022 and NCF 2023. So well done to all of you who chose the first answer. So let's move on to the next slide. This is something that we all need to understand, that the picture on the left, not good. Movement is something that's very important stimulation for the brain. If your children don't get enough movement every 20 minutes, they lose interest. So let's see the next slide. I'm going to play a game with you. For every capital letter you see on the screen, I want you to clap your hands. And for every small letter that you see, tap your head. Ready? So what will you do now? You'll clap your hands. Let's see the next slide. You'll tap your head. Next slide. What will you do now? These are the kind of movement games. So we were sitting, and that's why I said clap your hands and tap your head. But in a classroom, you can say for every capital letter, stand up, and for every small letter, sit down. And then put a little trick in your game, because this makes the children think. This gets them out of that, stagnation of ke iske baad to yehi aayega, iske baad to yehi aayega, and they have to think. And a lot of smart children will think and do. They will half stand, half sit, because it's standing and sitting. Let's see the next slide. Like that, you can play games with any age group. For example, you want to play a number game and you take children outdoors and you say, I want you to show me 10 elbows. So 10 of them will, 5 of them will have to join their elbows to show you 10 elbows. So there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of counting, there's a lot of listening to your instructions. If you've done place value, you can do the game given at the bottom, that you can say, tap your head for every 100 that you see, clap your hands for every 10, and snap your fingers for every 1. You understand? So you can do anything with games, movement, body. It makes it more fun, it makes it more interactive. For example, tap your head for every 100, clap for every 10, and snap your fingers for every 1. Let's try this one. 121. 100 means 100. 20 means twice, and 1. So snap your fingers. So you have tap, clap, and snap. So this is how children will remember what to do, when to do. You are now making them do multitasking, but all this needs to be age related. You can't start junior KG children on suddenly understanding what is place value and what body action should I do for that place value. That will confuse them. But do it with senior KG or grade 1 and grade 2. After they've understood the concept, they'll enjoy doing this. So instead of always giving revision in worksheets, you can do it through games. Let's see the next slide. This is something also very interesting, like a gallery walk. Instead of the teacher just sitting and showing pictures to a child, let them go around the class and see the pictures. See the next one. Venn diagrams, where children understand sets within a set. And that's going to help them in their mathematical skills. Next one. Inclusive education or special needs education is something that we are all struggling with. And not many of them know that in the NCF 2022, pages 193 to 199, you have beautiful ideas given for teachers to support special needs in their classroom. So please have a look at that. Let's see the next slide. Behavior management is another thing that teachers struggle with. How do I control my child's behavior? Why are they behaving like that? And very simple tips have been given. And if you see the next slide, look at this. It gives you 4 kinds of behavior, and this is applicable up to grade 10. Aggressive behavior, antisocial behavior, disruptive behavior, and inappropriate expression. And the NCF clearly outlines what to do if teachers face this kind of behavior. So instead of saying your child doesn't behave, we need to identify what kind of the behavior is a child displaying. And based on that, I can give a solution to the child. Let's see the next slide. This is a poster that I have created, which should be put up in staff rooms because it helps teachers understand how to have positive behavior management in their classrooms. It actually gives the teacher steps of what to do in her classroom. Let's see the next slide. The NCFs, both the MCFs talk about Panchakosha, which means the 5 layers where we need to involve our curriculum. We need to involve our curriculum in physical development, in mental development, in intellectual development. When all these 3 come together, only then will there be Anandamaya Kosh, which means my enjoyment of learning, my complete bliss in learning. Let's see the next slide. Schools need to become very careful about the food their children are eating because, friends, even the CBSE board and the CISE board have now come out with a sugar board. Why have they come with a sugar board? Because serotonin, which is one of the most important brain chemicals, is developed in the gut. So if your children are eating wrong food, serotonin is not being developed, and serotonin is a very important brain chemical. So please understand the connection between the gut and the brain and focus on what children are eating in your schools. Let's see the next slide. These are some of the materials that have been developed by the Early Childhood Association. You can go on the website and you can use them in your classrooms. Let's see the next slide. Affirmations is also something very good. Remember, I said the best way to keep the amygdala quiet is to give self-esteem boost to the children. And these affirmations that the CBSE board has now wanted schools to have are a very good start during the assembly and for all age groups. Let's go to the next slide. Panchakosh can be used in the curriculum. This is a wonderful example of how to use it in the curriculum. I'm going to request lead schools to send you a copy of this PowerPoint so that you can have a look at it at your own free time also. Let's go to the next slide. Panchadi is how a lesson plan is made. And whatever your age group, lesson plans need to have these 5 stages. And if you see the next slide, again, an example of a topic and how you can take a topic of grade 10, you can take a topic of grade 2, you can use this example, and you can use Panchadi in your lesson planning. Let's see the next slide. Now, I told you that I've also worked on the NCF 2023, and I'm going to show you some of the A to Zs of the NCF 2023. If you can see on the screen, A stands for Aims of School Education. B stands for Broad Principles and Processes of Textbook Design. C stands for Concentration, Competencies, Curriculum Areas. D stands for Development across Domains. So if you see this, once you get this PDF, it will become very easy for you to understand the NCF. Let's see the next slide. And you will see each of the letter of the alphabet has been taken from the 23 NCF. All you need to do is refer to this and it will take you to the page number. This gives you a kind of a gist. Go to that page number and you can get the detail. Let's see the next slide. So you have this complete A to Z of both the NCFs, 2022 and 2023. Let's take a poll question now.
Rohit, can you please serve the poll?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay, let's go to the next slide till you are ready. Whenever you're ready, let it come on the screen. Let's see the next slide. Holistic progress card, and schools are struggling to understand what is holistic progress card. Well, we've come out with the solution for you. Go on this website or write to me on this email and we'll send you a sample copy and a video to understand what is an HPC. Let's take the next slide. Friends, when we understand brain development, when we understand NCF 2022, 2023, and when we understand Nipun, you will realize that it's time to change many age old practices in our classrooms. Many of you will use cognitive flexibility after this workshop. Cognitive flexibility means the ability to change after knowing that, yes, I can change. I mean, in the pandemic, we all changed. We thought teaching and learning can only happen in a classroom. And then came a pandemic, and we all had to use our cognitive flexibility, and we all taught on Zoom. Or you will have cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance means you know smoking is bad, but you will still smoke. So you know these things are good for children, but you will still do them because parents are saying, or बाजू वाली स्कूल कर रही है, या फिर publishers के पास ऐसी ही books है. You have to decide as educators. You're going to use cognitive flexibility or you're going to use cognitive dissonance. Let's see the next slide. Yes, we have the poll question in front of us. Indian knowledge systems are an integral part of NEP 2020. Which of the following are prominently mentioned in the NCF 2022? Smriti and meditation, Panchakosha and Panchadi, or Panchatantra and yoga? And as usual, I can see one line going fast. That's wonderful. Yes. Can we end the poll? Yes, the answer is Panchakosha and Panchadi. So, friends, I'm going to leave you with rock, paper, scissors. Those of you who don't know how to play this game, do Google it today. But rock, paper, scissor is basically when two people say rock, paper, scissor, and I will have a rock, you will have a paper, or you will have a scissor. So, any three actions you need to do. And a paper can cover a rock. A scissor can be broken by a rock. So, this is a lovely game that children love to play. And it's a fun game. But I'm going to make you use rock, paper, scissors in a very different way. I want you to reflect on today's workshop and then put your points down that what was the rock of this session? What were the things that you felt I learned them for the first time? They become your rock. What was the paper of the session? Which means you had to write it down. That I must write it down and I must remember these. And which part of this workshop did you feel it's time to use my scissors? That I am convinced about this wrong practice and I have to remove it from my curriculum or I have to remove it from my school. So do this reflection of today's workshop rock, paper, scissors, and then slowly, bit by bit, you will come closer to becoming a fully immersed school in NCF 2022 and NCF 2023. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot. This was an insightful session. We have a few questions if you have 2 minutes of
Yes, yes,
time.
I have exactly 3 minutes.
Okay, so we have Jyoti asking that most of the students rely on AI to do their homework, and teachers are also doing the same. So I guess this is impacting human intelligence. Is it correct? She's asking.
No, I use AI a lot, but I know what AI is giving me is right or wrong. For example, once when I used AI to know more about Froebel, Frederick Froebel is the father of kindergarten, AI gave me wrong facts and I had to correct AI. But if I didn't have the human intelligence of knowing, AI would have fed me wrong facts and I would have listened to it and published it also saying this is it. No, we have to learn to use AI with evidence, which means don't use only one AI engine. Use Google, use books, use people, and be very sure about what you are using from AI. AI is very good when it comes to designing, but AI, when it comes to matter, which means learning matter, be very careful about it. That's called human intelligence.
One last question we can take, I think. Hamish is asking if we are moving out of rote learning, shouldn't we approach language learning as a skill? Will we see a change in the way CBSE approaches learning of languages?
I would say CBSE is a very open and forward thinking board. So I don't think whatever we are struggling with in our classrooms is caused by CBSE. It's caused by us, it's caused by publishers, it's caused by parents, because the minute a school wants to move away from a fixed practice to a more open practice, these are the people who always have a problem with it because we are not able to convince them. See, there is something called memory learning and rote learning. Memory learning means when I have to chant numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, I must know what comes after. That's called memory learning. Rote learning is when I learn something without understanding what it is, but I am just able to spill out the facts. So we need to understand that CBSE in no way teaches rote learning, and we must move away from rote practices because it's not helping the brain in any way.
Thank you so much
Thank
again,
you.
ma'am. Thanks a lot for taking out time from your busy schedule.
Thank you
Thanks
so
a
much.
lot.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. And yes, they will share the PowerPoint with you. And I will also share the 2 PDFs with them so they can share it with you. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I will take 2 minutes of the audience's time to explain a little bit about Lead Group. So, just to give you a quick introduction about lead learning systems, about Lead Group. So, we are India's fastest growing school edtech company. On the screen you can see some numbers which tell us about the presence of lead group and the reach. So we are present in more than 400 cities, 8,500 schools we have partnered with. We are engaged with 36 lakh plus students and with more than 60,000 teachers. So what the lead learning system includes is books, you have audiovisual learning aid, and you have activity kits as well that lead group can provide you with for a better learning. Here on the screen, we have a number. You can get in touch with us anytime. It is very easy to get in touch. Just take a screenshot of this uh, number. You can mail us as well on partner@leadschool.in, or you can call us at this number. Thank you so much for being patiently here and attending the webinar. Thanks a lot. We are also putting up a feedback form in the chat window. If you could take out some time and fill out the feedback form, you can also ask your questions there. If you have some questions, you can just put in your questions in the feedback form and we will get back. You can see the the survey link in the chat window. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It would mean a lot to us if you can fill out the survey form. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening. Bye.